We are back in the tent today with Wayne Sutton. Wayne, thanks for taking the time and coming and joining us here in the tent for some storytelling.
Yes, thanks for having me.
We've never met, but looking at your LinkedIn and blog and all your sites, you must have hundreds of stories. So we could spend a long time here, but appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming here. So tell us a little, who's Wayne? What's Wayne up to?
Yeah.
How did Wayne get here?
Yeah. Wow.
Where did Wayne fall? How much did it hurt? The usual, I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm still falling and I'm still getting back up.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So Wayne, my one word if I describe Wayne is a geek. I'm just a geek, but from the country, like North Carolina, from a small urban rural town. It's an urban but rural town in North Carolina called Teachie, which is a population 200. Yeah.
That is scary.
Yeah.
I grew up in a town of like 2,000, and that was pretty small.
200. Yeah, maybe 300 now. But in North Carolina, in between Raleigh, the state capital, and Wilmington, the coast, the beaches, everything like that. So I had to go to coast for fun. But I always had a passion for like technology. Growing up, once technology arrived, so I had a computer at home, I had a Commodore 64 like everybody had.
So we must be the same age.
Around that age.
I had a Commodore 64.
Yeah, and I used to take that apart, and my dad was an engineer, mechanic, so I used to work on engines and go-kart engines with him. My mom was like a business tax person, so the collaboration of those made me, and I got into art and design at a young age and took art class, and we had the first computer in my high school, and I just adopted to that and just learned how to use it. And then my background is like graphic design, computer graphic design, then print ad, worked at a newspaper, and then worked at a television station. I actually worked at 2 newspapers and then worked at a television station, but entrepreneur at heart. I knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur like in my high school days when I was working in the fields in North Carolina, and it was hot, and I was like, I'm gonna have an office job behind a computer when I get old. And from there, but I wanted my own design firm, because at the time it was like How Magazine was the big deal, right? I wanted my own design agency. And so I just really been into design and technology since then, and as things changed, was a web developer, network administrator, started my own first kind of tech startup in the first .com bubble in the 2000s in North Carolina, and just tried to do a sports marketing platform that basically trying to launch ESPN before ESPN. And when the .com bubble happened, because North Carolina's a real big sports state,
of course.
Everybody was like, we're not doing this. And so I had some professional athletes as partners, and they all backed out because of the .com bubble.
Wow.
And that was my first experience. But I was running the web hosting company at the time. Also, I had like a Time Warner business class IP to my apartment with like an HP desktop with about 100 websites hooked up to the APC unit. And that was like my web hosting company.
That's fun.
And so, then from there, I just saw the emergence. I've been a geek. I remember, things started taking off on the internet, saw how things were going from just static web pages to community forums to social, and now the evolution of we are now really having social impact to cause change and disruption.
What's 3.0?
Wow. 3.0 is personal. It's so personal and it's quantified, right? The buzzword like quantify health, quantifying data, but it's so personal and quantified, measured to the point on top of social analytics to where it's going, along with personal data to think about intuition and sentiment to think about buying power and decisions. And I think that's where it's going. And then the health aspects and the education aspect is the layer that really is going to like also have an impact on all of that. But from a marketing, because there's different verticals. There's the marketing aspect, consumer aspect. Everybody's got to make money. Everybody have eyeballs, and then that's where the data, the analytics, sentiment, personal. But then there's the real value, the real things that matter, education and health. And then in terms of health and fitness, in terms of just how we're gonna like really have people educated, and talking about we know education need to be disrupted, but like people really gonna like be doing amazing things at younger ages because of the amount of information and time they can spend learning online. And then also with the way venture is changing in terms of investment, and crowdfunding, is that those opportunities are going to come to fruition and come to consumers faster because people are creating and doing more.
Who's doing a good job? Is that a flex?
This is a Jawbone.
Oh, Jawbone.
This is a Jawbone, yeah.
Okay. Who's doing a good job of that right now?
Oh, wow.
Who's like ahead of the curve?
Of course, Jawbone, because I'm representing them, but I'm not representing them, but I have a Jawbone. Well, if you have a product, you are
sponsor Jawbone.
I know, right? But you know what? If you are wearing a product, it's almost like people saying a retweet is not an endorsement, but if you just share it, it does say that you either agree or disagree, and you sharing that with your network. When you do wear a product, you are evangelized. So Jawbone, Jawbone's doing this amazing thing. Nike, of course. With the Nike Plus and data they're doing and the research and the money that they have. And then it's really all those companies, but then it's also the companies that's backing those companies are seeing that as the future. And then, because I recently attended the Human API Hackathon, and I was like, yes, because this is a part where things are going. Their goal, I don't know the guys outside attending the hackathon, but what I got from that was their goal to be this portal where you just connect with their API. They'll connect with Jawbone, Fitbit, Move, all those applications to basically saying, all right, use the API, we connect to all the data sources, build on top of our API to allow you to get all this data. And so I think Human API has a chance. They are very early. I believe they were in AngelPad Accelerator. So if they execute correctly, they got a chance.
Yeah, so I know Thomas is doing a good job, and I think some help, Angel Hack and Greg, I think they help with the hackathon.
Yeah.
And I think here's the thing, like everybody has all this data. Some people aren't sharing it, some people are sharing it, some people are not doing anything with it, some people are not doing what they should be doing with it, you know, but it's interesting because, all of a sudden this, data wave is here. And you have all this stuff, and a lot of people are just looking at, okay, how do I create eyeballs or marketing or sales, and that to me is lame. I don't know, that part of it.
Yeah, it's not attractive.
It's not attractive, but this whole idea of human betterment or doing something positive, or, figuring out how do you get people more healthy or educated, that part I think is super cool, and I think that's what they're going after. So that's super cool. Okay, so by the way, how did you end up here from North Carolina?
Okay, so true story. I've always been jealous of Silicon Valley. Growing up in the country parts of North Carolina, moving to Raleigh, Durham, Research Triangle Park, the tech world of North Carolina. In 2009, me and my partner Lawrence, who actually was from San Francisco, moved to North Carolina because cost of living was way cheaper in North Carolina. Me and him co-founded a mobile location-based platform called Tryout for Triangle Out. And we was like 6 months behind Foursquare, very early for mobile location and all that, hyper buzzwords at the time. But we had a great platform. We actually launched it at the Research Triangle Park headquarters, and it was we was one of the local early tech companies, right? And it was a good platform. But that was my second kind of like doing tech startup, right, in 2009. And we decided to keep it hyper local, just focus on the community, and we learned a lot. And we ended up white labeling the platform to North Carolina State University and had some couple offers to raise some capital. We turned it down. And I wanted to grow. I wanted to change the world. I wanted to go big. And so I had a couple colleagues contact me about saying they want to, launch an application themselves. I said, don't do it in North Carolina if you want to go big. Go west, right? If you want to do a mobile, because it was around, they want to do something around location settlement. And so the idea was to go to Silicon Valley and create this and do this startup house. And so in 2011, me and my partner at the time started planning a startup house that led, and then I invited a couple of the friends of mine to come in this startup house out here in Silicon Valley. And that led to saying, why don't we turn it into an incubator accelerator for minorities, women, Hispanic, and African Americans. And because the data came out from CB Insights that 1% of tech startups are founded by a minority. And so I was like, let's create this program, right? And so we ended up turning to Accelerator. 8 of us started living in one house. We had 3 local startups on the Bay, and seen and heard about what we was doing. We got filmed for a documentary. Yes. And, yeah. So
I met Angela the week she came here to check out like where to set up the house.
Yeah.
Before.
That was probably
4 years ago.
May when we came for where location, the O'Reilly location conference.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I was doing my location-based app. So yeah, we came to O'Reilly conference and checked that out, and then went and checked out the house and everything. And yeah.
So we're I guess in that sense, you know, I always talk about that I learn a lot on the show. Here I'm trying to help other people learn, but you know, we're trying to do kind of the similar thing for the Middle East.
Yeah.
So the idea is we're going to do a tour of the Middle East, pick 10 teams, bring them here.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know if I like the house idea or where they should be. So maybe I can pick your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
Like what works, what doesn't work.
Oh man, I can tell you real quick. Put them in a core center of where the action is at.
Okay.
Either downtown San Francisco, Mountain View,
So we're
Palo
doing like half
Alto.
and half. We're going to do half South Bay, half
Yeah,
San Francisco.
yeah, but keep them in the city, keep them in the mix,
Yeah.
and then let them know that they have to work hard. They have to get out
of
and network.
course.
Once they get here, it's just the basics.
Yeah.
The network and everything, and they do need some guidance, especially if you don't know, because most people want to believe what they read, think that's it. But the core of what happens here is so not online, and you can't put a value on it. It's not until you start doing things like this, start you creating value, telling stories, building strong relationships, or creating some serious product,
Totally.
and dealing with the egos. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. Yeah, and that's actually funny because entrepreneurs in the Middle East are actually a little bit more humble. You know, because they're still learning and growing and want to connect. And to them, again, I always say this, to them, this is like Hollywood. You know?
Yeah.
It's not real.
Yeah.
So that's what we want to facilitate.
Yeah.
So I'd love to have maybe a more in-depth discussion over lunch or dinner about the house and logistics and things to do and not to do. But
This tea?
yes, see.
Oh, thank you.
So what do you got cooking now?
So now, I'm actually, I don't want to say I'm in transition. I am hyper-focused, hyper-motivated about building this platform called PITME that I actually started working on last year after I left New Meat.
Yep.
And so I identified that out here in Silicon Valley, you go to pitch events, hackathon, demo days, so forth, and you have a panel of judges. Everybody's like, yes, let's rate these companies, just take some notes. And I'm like, why are we still using a piece of paper? Why is there not a platform to manage this data that could be collected and to be used and to like make more intelligent decisions of why you want to either vote for them or invest in them?
Sure.
And because the hyper word that a lot of investors say is that it's their intuition, right? I was at startup school last year, listening to Ron Conway. Ron is like, he can immediately identify a great entrepreneur by 50 data points in his head, right? But that's Ron.
It is wrong, but one of the guys who does mergers and acquisitions for Google, he's like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I know if there's anything there.
Yeah.
And actually, to be honest, I think it's a bunch of fluff.
Yeah.
Bullshit. It's luck. That's all it is. It's luck and timing and like alignment of whatever. But okay, so what is is it live?
Yeah, actually, no. The website's up, but the actual product is still being built. My goal, my wish is next 3 weeks or sooner, I can start saying, hey, go use it, go test it out, and so forth. So I've been I posted a message on Facebook today saying that if you are hyper-focused, you're unstoppable. And that's where I'm at right now. It's just I took some time off beginning of the year, got a son back home and saw him, and last year I did a lot of customer development. I totally believe in the lean strategy in terms of customer development with Steve and Eric Preach. Because without that, how do you know outside of your own personal intuition that you want to build something people want to use? Yeah. And you learn by talking to people what problems they have and what solutions you can probably create. But still, until you put a product in their hands, you don't know. And the Steve thesis is that until somebody pays you for a product, you got to guess a hobby and so forth. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I had somebody tested out the product. I mean, it's working. Someone's working. Somebody tested out the product today and made me feel like just giddy, right? I was like watching them as they use it, and I was like, why do you pause right there? And it was like, because I said, was it a usability problem? Or it was like, you got to think about before you make that decision. It was like, I had to think about before I made that decision, which was like what I want, because therefore you're not making this guess, like why like that company versus the other company, that founder versus the other founder. You know, you want to really think about it, and so I was satisfied with that.
And so I'd love to use it because I think as part of what we're doing, it could definitely be useful. So whenever you have a beta release or a private invite, I'd love one.
Yeah. The company's called Pitch2.
Yeah, Pitch2. Yeah. And I think you're coming to No Panels, right?
Yes, I am.
Hopefully something that creates some sort of value.
Yeah. It'll be ready by then. It will be ready because No Panels is in
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
So you better crank.
Yeah.
Today, yesterday in 2 weeks. So, you better have a MVP or something.
Yeah, by this weekend, my goal is not going to drink some tea, taste the tea. This Sunday, it'll be a deadline.
Okay, so we like the storytelling.
Okay.
Tell me a story that like you haven't told before.
Oh wow.
Some experience that stands out, like good, bad, learning experience, hurdle, stumble, success.
Yeah.
Score, whatever.
Wow. I'll probably have to say, because you said a lot right there. It's like there's good, there's bad, there's success.
I actually think you can learn through failure and
success. I'll probably say I'll tell a story about like just as relevant as recent right now. So I joined the team late last year. I put my Pitch2 on hold last year, and I joined the team. And some guys, we were talking about products and so forth, and I saw the product and believed in the mission and so forth. Yep. It fit with my core values.
Cool.
And I think that was a mistake because even though it fit with my core values and the product was cool, what is still driving me inside is my vision to launch Pitch2.
Yeah.
And so like, before you join a team, before you're looking at like partnering with somebody else, before you look at other opportunities available, take a good look in the mirror and be like, number one, does it fit with your core values? Number two, is this what you really, really want to do?
Yeah.
And because I had a conversation with a founder yesterday, and they were putting all their 100% in with their company, right? 100%. They're like filing patents, you name it. But it was like, what do they do when this doesn't work out?
Yeah.
And it's like, what happens, right? And that's the question. It's like, we talk about like the 80-20 rule that what Google has, right? Yeah. Other companies, but we're also talking about 100% focus, right? Then a lot of people now are talking about work-life balance.
Yeah.
But it's like, if you go all in, want to have a work-life balance, and then you just like, and it doesn't work out, what do you do?
Yeah.
It's like, so you have to plan for success.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then also it's like going in, you want to have less risk as possible.
Yeah, of course.
Right? But we're dealing with an entirely different generation of entrepreneurs. People my age, people your age, people, older than me, than us. They got different responsibilities than the young kids out there. And so it's like, what do? Do you go after your passion 100% in? Or do you partner and then say, all right, let's do this for now? Or do you just plan and be ready for failure or success?
It's funny, as you were saying this, I was just going through my head, like, different job offers and different teams I've met that I like the product. And it was always like, okay, sure, they've got great backers, great advisors, great product, cool team. And it's not even so much that I doubt that they'll make it or not make it, and it's not even so much that I don't think I could do it. It's almost like in this last year of building this and bootstrapping and trying to figure out like how to build a business, like I've been knocked down, like you said, many times, like to the point where I think once I wanted to jump off a balcony. But at the end of the day, like it's almost like when you got that fire, like that itch, failure is not an option, right? Now, the criteria of failure is really depending on how high you set your own expectations, right?
Yes.
And I think the difference between company and product and passion and vision is that, like, there's not that same. I don't know how to explain it. Like, and I get goosebumps talking about it because people ask me like, what gets you fired up, or why are you doing this, and like, what do you get out of this? And to be honest, I haven't made money. I didn't think of it as a business. I was passionate about it. But I've had a few offers from companies to join, and I was like, do I really want to commit 4, 5, 10 years of my life, make money, and be part of something amazing? Or do I want to, risk it and do something that at the end of the day I can say, you know what, I did it and I was committed and passionate and super fired up about, you know. And that's a tough question, and especially in the Middle East, there's this, you know, inherent problem. It's hard to set up a business, it's hard to shut down a business. Failure is not really accepted. So, you know, these are all things that I think we want to inspire people and really just to follow their passion, make it easier and connect them. So.
There's two things on that, right? Number one, nobody can measure your success except for you. And there's the outside world view of success, but at the end of the day, you know why you're doing this, right?
That's the way I say it is I have nothing to prove to anybody other than myself.
And exactly. And I've been criticized. I mean, I've been, you know, whatever. It's like, okay, you know, Wayne's doing this for even this opportunity, right? I'm grateful for it. It's like, okay, and I value it, right? Because there's people who want to be in my shoes. People want to be in this tent right here. And there's people who like, well, why me? All right, okay. It's like, well, why not me? Right? So value that experience. And so I've been criticized saying, oh, I just do stuff for opportunity, for exposure, whatnot. So it's like, okay, yeah. All right, that's your opinion. All right, I know why I do this. I know the emails I get. I know the Facebook tweets and messages I get. The people saying that keep doing what you're doing because you're inspiring me. Right? And that stuff like that is like, who cares what anybody says? You wake up, you go to bed at night, you put on your own shoes, pants, whatever, because you are motivated to go after your own personal goals and dreams. And if you and then the other thing is about measuring success, right? For example, people, when we did Accelerator and got on CNN and everything and so forth, and the question was like, how you gonna measure success? Is it just because the companies get funded? All right, well, funding is part of an extension of an opportunity to take a risk to continue to do what your guess is, that this is a business, right? It doesn't mean that, okay, you raise some money, hey, that's not the end of this journey, right? Now here's success, right? In my opinion, success is more about impact. And it kind of goes back what we were talking about earlier in terms of like companies and data and all this data. We start having impact, changing people's lives in a positive way. That's success. When we did a program, like I was like, success is that, okay, somebody that looks like me, talks like me or not, or there's somebody who sees me, say that person do it, I can do it. And then I've seen extensions to where Hank just did a big amazing conference in Boston last weekend called The Platform, right? It had Quincy Jones, Steve Stroud, Mitch Kapoor was there, hundreds of people, MIT labs, right? Like he credits that the idea for that came from his participation into the incubator and accelerator, which now extends the conversation 2 years later about what can we do to create more minority entrepreneurs, have impact, and just not even just minorities, just create good entrepreneurs. Because that's another thing. Is like for me, it's like if you just be like, if you're talking about one of the best like role model examples, not necessarily go, why are you not doing this? Why are you not supporting blacks or women and so forth? Go be great yourself and to be in position to encourage and support others. And that's my goal, my dream.
No, and that's why, as you're talking, I'm like, you know, like we're living parallel lives, you know, and then again, I don't know if I've been successful or not. I don't know if by today's standards, I have enough money or a nice car or whatever. And to be honest, I don't really care because I've had money and it didn't make me happier. You know? And so this whole thing has been a very, very similar journey. And again, maybe one day I get up and say, well, I want to do something else. But right now, like this is the best thing for me. And this is the only thing I could think of doing. You know? And that's the addiction, or I don't know what you call it, where you're like, you get up in the morning, you're like, I gotta do more. Do more. You know, more, and like bigger and better and faster and more efficient. And so it's actually like a entrepreneurial disease, I think.
Well, that's what they're trying to measure. I was talking at Stanford recently, and they're talking about like, and one of the questions is like, are entrepreneurs born, or is it a trade, that skill they can adopt, they can learn? It's something you can learn. You can learn, but it's like there's a reason why like there's so many entrepreneurs out here versus other pockets of America. It's because if you put
lead by example and learn
example and environment, right? It's like if you put 10 kids in the hood. 90% of my thesis is that the products that will come out of that is the hood. Right? You know, if you put 10 kids in startups, entrepreneurship, tech, Silicon Valley, you're gonna get more of the same.
Yep.
And so that's where we really have to like go to these communities and change,
Transition,
and they're out. And so that's why it's like it's a trait, something you can learn if you put in the right environment and educate it. And then the other part is that the question I don't know is the risk, because it's like risk. I think is something that can be learned also, because if you got to take the courage and have the courage to take the risk to be an entrepreneur, to do what we do, is after you learn what you can do.
Is that driven by like a hunger to do bigger, better, and more, or is it just kind of that you're trying to be confident and prove? I mean,
Yeah.
What's the different perspective there, you think?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. For me, it's like I've done a lot of things, things that in North Carolina, like, it was in North Carolina. I've done some things out here, so it's okay. But it's like, for me, some things that, I want to prove to myself.
Yep.
And then also to reach my own personal goals, to be in a position to, my end game is to be an investor, to where I can now have the position, be in a position to kind of, one of my friends is Natalia, who runs the Pipeline and Fellowship.
Oh, yeah. She was on the show.
Yeah, great. Yeah, you know
awesome.
Natalia. Yeah, awesome.
Super cool.
Awesome.
That girl is
amazing.
Machine.
Yeah.
She is
and
something
so
else.
she's all about more women investors, change the ratio,
Yeah.
and that's my thing. And also being an example, right? Because my challenge is that there's two things, there's more than two, but one of the things I look at in this space in terms of tech and examples and role models and want to increase women diversity with all that is that, number one, I don't believe you should lower the standards because you put people's lives and money, but you should keep the standards high and everybody else should be great up here.
Yeah.
And so that's my thing, is I want to be great,
Excellent,
and then so I can like help other people be great also. But you gotta take care of Wayne yourself first.
Yeah, and that's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you, like, you have to sacrifice
A lot. Yeah.
And it's sometimes you're like, was that really worth it, or do I have to go to this event or do this or spend 14 hours doing whatever. But again, it is this risk and reward. And this physical challenge to yourself.
Yeah, but it's life.
It is life.
It's life. I mean, the risk and reward comes in everything. Mm-hmm. It comes in from relationships. It comes in whether you choose not to or pursue or not to pursue a person. Yeah. It comes into opportunities. It comes into work. It comes into like health and fitness. It's like you choose to eat this donut. I used to be big on Krispy Kreme. I hate it now. I don't hate them, but it's like I hate him now because I'm working my butt off to like lose this weight now.
Man, I'm trying to lose some weight.
Yeah, and so it's like you choose these things, take these risks, but it's choices we make, and sometimes we don't know until later that was the choice we made, but it actually made you a better person. Mm-hmm. And that's what, like, for me, it's like, especially the last 8 months, I wouldn't want to put on anyone like the life lessons I had to learn, but all of it made me a better person.
Of course.
And I can smile now, and then I can take my lessons and talk to other entrepreneurs like, don't make the same mistakes I did.
So yeah, I'd love to pick your brain about those mistakes, but I don't want to make them. Because again, I can see that a few of them are guaranteed the same. Otherwise, if I talk to you in a year, I'd be like, oh, Wayne, we did this. Oh yeah, I could have told you that. Yep, knew that was going to happen. Yeah. So I'd love to, we should get together and dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah.
We try to close the show with this concept of old rule. Like,
okay.
What's your one rule that you live by?
Oh, my one rule I live by, well, probably have to say, keep moving forward, and which is a Walt Disney saying that comes from that they put in the movie Meet the Robinsons, which is about the father of the scientist, but how he always failed, but he kept moving forward, which is my personal motto now. It's like, no matter what happens, don't give up, keep moving forward.
Cool. All right, Wayne, I want to appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you coming. I don't know what size you are, but we have a PITME t-shirt. Sport it once in a while.
Oh, yeah, we'll do. Thank you. We appreciate that. Yeah, awesome.
Anyway, thanks for making time.
Yes.
And, again, I would love to get together and have you involved as a mentor or as some sort of way so we can learn from your lessons and do a better job of what we're trying to do to inspire and help entrepreneurs in the Middle East. With that, ladies and gentlemen, peace. We'll see you next time.